Here we go again with another film that is dividing people, but one that I am not mixed about at all. There isn't many movies that deal honestly about women who go through postpartum depression and the potential ramifications that can have on not only her, but everyone surrounding her. The closest one that I can think of is the film Tully from 2018 starring Charlize Theron. Now we have another one that is attempting to not only convey it from an emotional storytelling standpoint, but also doing it visually. Die My Love was directed by Lynne Ramsay and tells the story of a happy couple played by Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, who move into a house out in the middle of nowhere in Montana. Pattinson received the house as an inheritance after his uncle passed away. The couple is shown happy, carefree, and living what seems to be the fun young lover's life. Soon they have a child together, and everything that follows is about the troubles a relationship can go through and what the woman goes through after giving birth. This picture is based off of a book that I have not read, so I'm reviewing this as a standalone work. Before I talk about Jennifer Lawrence, I have to tip my hat to the incredible supporting performances of Nick Nolte and Sissy Spacek. Nolte has very limited screen time, really only appearing near the beginning and near the end, but he is vital to the themes of the film. Sissy Spacek plays Pattinson's mother, and she is a lonely woman who sleepwalks at night, also sleeps with a gun wrapped around her arms every night. She helps the couple with their child, and the mindset this woman is in adds some poignancy to the power of losing your mind that the film is going for. Die My Love is shot in what seems to be 35mm and in, I believe, a 4:3 aspect ratio. I get the sense that it was done this way to add to the isolating feeling of being trapped in your environment and also your mind. There are many dark shots in the film where you see the moonlight bathing every inch of the screen, and you see shadows of the characters standing in distant and shadowy ways. When I said that this film is attempting to convey the emotional suffocating feeling women have when going through postpartum, I meant it. At first, when you see Jennifer Lawrence crawling in a grass field with a knife in her hand for what seems to be for no reason at all, it at first comes off as being artsy for just random sakes, but quickly the movie ditches that label when you see what it's really about. This film is very quiet in many of its scenes, but randomly it will inject a bunch of loud music that blasts through the speakers, and it jolted me. And the first time it happened, I became agitated with the film. It's done a few more times, and it didn't take me long to realize that this is part of the surrealistic design of feeling like you are being assaulted visually and auditorily. There is not one shot in this film that is boring, and there definitely isn't a single moment where you do not feel like you are being drained of all your energy as you watch a woman internally destruct. Robert Pattinson, I think, plays a thankless role as the boyfriend/husband. He has a job where he travels quite a bit, so he isn't in the film in the first half as much as he should be, but this job he has adds to the feelings of isolation that Lawrence's character is feeling. They have a phone conversation where he is eating dinner at a restaurant, and she hears a girl's voice, and she begins suspecting that he is having an affair. Later on, she finds some condoms in his glove box. The film never definitively answers whether or not he is cheating on her, but I don't think he is. I think it is part of watching her mind unravel with miscommunications, delusions, and twisting realities to fit whatever bad thoughts that are occupying her head. As you see her begin to lose herself more and more, I saw this man who really loves her but doesn't know how to help her. He is confused on why she is randomly walking off in the night, saying and doing things that he doesn't understand, and all he can do is try and bring her back from the edge. I think if this role had been more fleshed out, we could have had a spectacular story about a couple dealing with this reality in their own ways. And there is plenty of that in this film. I just wish he was in the film more to flesh it out all the way. But for what is there, it is a great performance by Pattinson, and it is very thankless. The star of this movie, though, is obviously Jennifer Lawrence, and while she won an Oscar for her role in Silver Linings Playbook, this is easily the best performance she has ever given. This is right up there with Charlize Theron's performance in Monster in terms of how powerful it is. She is a huge smartass in the picture to add some light bits of comedy to this awful situation. And one thing I have noticed that people are divided on is hers and others' acting seemed wooden at times, like they didn't believe in what they were doing. I completely disagree with this, and here's why. This film bounces in time frames several times and doubles back on itself randomly, so it is obviously a film with an unreliable narrator who is slipping into psychosis. So the fact that some of the acting may seem wooden is purely by design. She has a scene where she is in a bathroom and she destroys the bathroom, but never has any emotion to her face while she is doing it. To me, it's almost like she is so trapped in her mind that her body and feral instincts are doing all of the actions for her without any need for emotion. Throughout the film, she becomes very feral and primitive with her mindset. She gets naked a lot for random reasons. She pleases herself, if you know what I mean, many times at what seems like inappropriate moments. Her mind is escaping so much that it is going into a feral fight or flight mode. And I love this performance so much. Lawrence needs to be nominated for this role for Best Actress. It is the strongest performance I have seen since Mikey Madison in Honora. So in case you can't tell, I absolutely love this movie. I have a number of issues with it, which I will talk about in a moment. But this is a movie that I love despite its inconsistencies, because the performance is carried above and beyond any nitpicks I may have. I haven't felt this strongly about a character study since The Last Showgirl, and like that film, it is a drifting type of story in some kind of way. It really is only about the disillusion of someone's mind when they feel isolated in a place they don't know after giving birth to a child. It is raw and real. I never once felt like I was watching someone just act. There is a guy that Lawrence meets a few times in the film, played by Lakeith Stanfield. They meet once in a barn, then she has an awkward conversation outside of a grocery store with him, then they meet a third time, and I didn't know what he represented in the story of her mindset. I understand that he's likely a manifestation of her primal subconscious, but the film doesn't identify that enough for me to be satisfied that he was randomly inserted into the story. It felt like an extra layer into her mind that didn't need to be in there. There is a sequence with a dog that is vital to her unraveling. I loved it on an audio level, having her hear a baby crying while constantly hearing this dog either barking or whimpering. The payoff of that felt a little too safe, but its implications were strong enough that I was able to look beyond the mindset of not wanting to offend people who are watching this film. The biggest issue I have with this picture is how fast the last 20 minutes happened. It seemed like the film could have been a half an hour longer, and it would have been an even stronger piece of work. As it is right now, without spoiling it, I'll just say that there is a culmination to her actions, and there is an intervention, but it is breezed over so fast. I would have liked it much more if we had more time to process everything with her instead of it being what seemed to be a montage of sorts. Then we fast forward in time. She is supposed to be a writer, but we rarely get to see any of that, and when we do finally see some, it is glossed over in a way that felt very detached from the rest of the story. I absolutely love the last 10 minutes, and when the ending comes, I was fully in the heads of both Pattinson and Lawrence. I understood what both of them were going through and why each of them does what they do. I've had to recently deal with something very similar to Pattinson's character this year, and even when you think you should let go, your love for someone is too strong and you can never let go. So even though this film is not for everyone and has a third act that felt a tad rushed, I don't care. This is one of the best movies of the year and is carried by 4 performances that I honestly don't think I will ever forget. If you can take films that feel very dreamy but raw in their presentation, then I can't recommend this enough. So even though this film is not for everyone and has a third act that felt a tad rushed, this is a beautiful, funny, and heartbreaking film that left me mentally exhausted as the credits began to roll, but in a great way. Every once in a while, a movie rises above its own shortcomings with god-tier performances, and Die My Love is a perfect example of that. I absolutely love this movie, and it will be on my list of the 10 best films of the year. I give Die My Love 4 stars out of 4. Even though it stumbles a little bit in its delivery, it has one of the best performances I've seen this year in Jennifer Lawrence, but also amazing performances from Nick Nolte, Sissy Spacek, and Robert Pattinson. This film deserves everyone's attention. I can't recommend it enough. It is pure cinema, as Martin Scorsese would say. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.